Hey everybody, welcome to a White Roots recap
Sorry.
of
My
The
font just
Handmaid's
increased
Tale.
and it scared me.
Oh, sorry. But yes, welcome to the White Roots recap here on Jade and XD. We're covering season 5, all of this season here on both YouTube and on Patreon.
Yes.
So, we will be releasing this first episode on on YouTube for free, and then we'll do our subsequent episodes behind our paywall on Patreon, which you're free to sign up for, $9.99. You get all access, unedited, unfiltered Jade and XD. And this is going to shape up to be a pretty dynamic season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's recap a little bit of what happened through season 4.
Can I be honest?
uh,
Every season, Handmaid's, I think my body dumps what I've watched after I watch it. And so when I come back to the new seasons, I always, you know how we say, oh, I need to rewatch last season before the new season comes out of different shows.
Mm-hmm.
I used to say that about Handmaid's Tale, but I realized that I think my body not only won't allow me to revisit, but also it dumps what we learned. And it comes back real quick, like when we watch the new seasons and be like, oh, yeah, that's what happened. But I fully put that out of my mind.
Well, I think that's a smart thing to do because of the fact that it is so heavy.
Nigga, the screen is heavy when you watching it. It be dark as hell. I go and make sure that my brightness is all the way up. Anyway. Yeah, it's a little bit of last season.
Super dark. So a little bit of last season. Essentially, June killed KKK Colonel Fred. In a scam between her and the Canadian U.S. government and Gilead.
It was a scam that the U.S. government set up to hit them with the bullshit.
Yeah, and actually it was the Canadian government.
Government. See, you can't trust them people. They too nice.
Mm-hmm. That's why they're drawn funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, on South Park. So, you remember, her and her girls from her therapy group, which I realize who they are, the Murder Gang, Slaughter Gang therapy group.
Oh, her riders, GS9, what do you mean?
Yeah. They killed, maimed, castrated Fred and left him out in the woods. And so they
left his body for the vultures.
Yeah. And then what else happened last season? Oh, Janine got caught in a roundup of prisoners, whatever, and so she got sent back to Gilead. And everybody hates June still because June has lost her fucking mind. And naturally so. I can't imagine her to be in any type of sane type of situation. Right?
No. But the thing about it is, though, June got to watch how she moved. You see, this to be the problem with white women. Because y'all get too big for your britches. June, you can't make enemies with the bitches who helped you kill this nigga. You can't make enemies with them. And then you sitting up here driving everybody in your personal life crazy. I understand trauma, but we've got to learn how to process and can't be spreading our mess about.
Right. So that brings us up to speed. Okay. So, throughout the beginning of this episode, we see a lot of flashbacks, and there's always symbolism in this show, right?
Yes.
What this means, and here we see her finally getting her just desserts for all the horrible shit that Fred Waterford put her through.
Terrible man.
So she comes home in a daze, just like a euphoric type daze or whatever, after, because she's like, yes, I killed my slaver. She hugs her little white baby all bloody and shit. She's running the shower. She ain't wash her legs or nothing, because you know that's what they do.
She tried to clean off with some warm water earlier, but you can't just be trying to clean blood with water.
Yeah, it don't work that way. So she's in the house with fake Barack Obama and Poussey, and they're like, she's not talking. She's just like, oh my god, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just walking around and there's music playing,
looking like this.
And so, yes, and so she tells them finally. She tells Barack Obama, and I call him Barack Obama because that's who he is in the First Lady show.
Oh,
and when Viola was like, so let's be niggers. So
that's who played Obama? That's who it was?
I forget. He has I think he's Nigerian.
British.
Yeah,
Nigerian,
but he has an African name. Yeah. So anyway, she tells them that she kills Fred, and they're like, bitch, what the fuck? And she's just like, oh, that's a good thing. And she pulls off in her Volvo. You know,
it's like Portland.
So, yeah,
I imagine that's how every white woman acted after the protest. Everybody who jumped in front of a nigga, it was like, defund the police. They drove off in their Volvos and Subarus.
And Subarus with their Tivas on. So back in Gilead, her spicy white slaver Blaine comes back home to his wife. That I forgot that was the thing.
Oh, baby.
Because he was so in love and trying to be all boo things with Elizabeth Scientology. And so I didn't really understand that, which makes more sense in episode 2 of this season.
Do you, though, do you watch this show with the lens that she is a Scientologist?
Yeah.
Because I do too.
It informs a lot of my commentary, and especially because she directs a lot more.
Yeah, she's directing a lot more in these later seasons.
That leads me to this is a lot more less fiction and a lot more reality.
I mean, are we living out an alternate fantasy or what? I don't.
Oh yeah. I always feel like. That's a Patreon comment.
I was like, this ain't the paywall, baby. YouTube, it's a different hell.
Very fair, very fair. So, he goes back to his wife with the cane. And so he hates her because he's in love with Elizabeth Scientology and Nichole with the H. Nichole.
Here's my Nichole. Here's my question. The lady with the cane, because I got a little in that forgetfulness. She's not supposed to be the original young wife, the girl from Euphoria, is she?
No.
He got married again. Oh, yeah, because old girl ran away or something, right? That's right. Or she got put in the other house. Yeah,
Esther,
okay. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember they got, yes, yes. When What's-Her-Face tried to run off the first time. Or second. One of those earlier times.
I think he was also, he was conflicted because she was so young and he didn't feel right about that because it's very evident. We all see that this nigga don't really want to be doing this shit. This is a survival tactic.
Sure. Which also proves that men are weak. So
very much so. Poussoir. I'm gonna just go along to get along. But anyway.
Right. So he, his wife with the cane was like, June. Did she handle her business? Did she do what she needed to do without talking about it directly, but indirectly? Because she knew what the tea was.
But how you put all that God talk all over that? Praise be.
They all do. They all do. It'd be like rape, pillaging, and famine, and all under the guise of praise be.
Under his eye.
Like real times. So
you know what? You are right about that, honey.
Right. So she's all trying to comfort him, but he definitely misses Elizabeth's Scientology. And so, she makes him tea and shit, and he's just like, yes, but I miss Nichole. So like, next, SWAT team goes to Serena. First of all, shout out to this design team for this season.
Baby!
Because the prisons are cute.
They are prisoning, okay? Let me tell you something. Serena is in a serenity. She is up here doing yoga with her, -1 pinky. She is stretching. She is in her solidarity. Like, she is just, I am zen. I am meditating in this prison house.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's like a prison, but make it CB2.
Right. So, while she's doing downward dog, SWAT team comes in and they're like, hey, bitch, we gotta move you.
Yeah, you got to
And she's like, no, like, my name is Karen. I was told by Apple Care that I was told I was gonna get the part. And so
they humbled her. They said, bitch, you're still a motherfucking prisoner. Move.
Yeah. Not S. Apartha Markerson, but somebody else who gives that energy, was like, so your husband's dead and we need to move you, otherwise you'll die too. And
he was like, oh, say less. Okay.
Oh, cool. So, however, they tell her like, hey, that happens later. So she ends up moving and she's like puzzled and she's like trying not to cry or whatever.
And she's irate, you know what I'm saying? Demanding shit as a white woman. How you demand shit? This is not a joke. You are an inmate and this is not your country.
Yeah, this is not your country.
It's almost like you're black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not about to tell you shit.
Right. So, June meets up with her murder gang, slaughter gang, better help group. Mm-hmm. And they up here having, breakfast.
Have you ever noticed that everybody eat breakfast at the diner after they murder?
Yeah, that's like I don't know, that happens a lot in like Breaking Bad or in like a Better Call Saul. Mm-hmm. Like you go to breakfast after you kill somebody,
and it's always at the diner. That's why we got to be leery of diners.
In Olive Garden, I told you where they tried to kill that man or that whole family, and they did it over breadsticks and salad over at Olive Garden.
Where did they kill Tony Soprano and them? At the diner?
Yeah, they did.
I'm telling you. It's a theory.
So, right. So again, they're getting. I don't understand the purpose of the eating scene. I guess it's because she's happy and food represents happiness of some kind of whatever.
That's what I gathered. I said, a lot of people after they do things and they regret them, they lose their appetites. This scene just showed pure glee and like hunger for more.
So then it turns out, as if it couldn't do it already. So not Michonne from Walking Dead pulls out, she opens the trunk of the Sentra and pulls out hella weapons, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, bitch, what the fuck? Well, I was like, bitch, what the fuck?
Yeah, they was like, we ride at dawn.
Yeah, it wasn't just Fred, this is a movement.
Oh, yes, baby. We killing all the commanders, okay?
Mm-hmm. Across the plane, which, with you, however, it don't work that way.
Oh, no.
Well, the thing is, because I was very conflicted in this moment. So, essentially, they're like, oh, we ride at dawn, but June Tubman is kind of like
June with 4 white women on her.
She's
we
like,
got my problem taken care of. What you mean we?
She reneged. Yeah, mama reneged like a motherfucker.
Bad, okay? She played a heart immediately when she said she played a spade, then she played a heart.
Yeah. Yeah. But a part of me felt her though, right? Because it's like, yes, we got a commander who was one of the leaders of this new nation. But also, and I'm all for getting pain and getting back and killing all those people. But however, that was a specific incident that was provided to us by the federal government. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of moving parts for that to happen. You can't just go all willy-nilly and, you know, let's kill them all.
Yeah,
yes.
we got to have a plan, girl.
Yeah, we can't just do that. Otherwise, we'll get killed and this will be all for naught.
But I think the bitches is ready to die. I think they are ready to risk it all.
Well, we thought that in season 4 when they first started their group, right? Because when Elizabeth Scientology was like, you know, I'm mad and I hate them, and why should I have to get over this? And all them heifers were like, me too. Yeah. I'm mad and I'm not going to get over it. Real. And they have every right to be. It's just, girl, this is ineffective.
Yeah, but we got to have a plan. That's all.
Revenge has to be effective. That's all.
Revenge, but make it Virgo. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So her homegirl Vicky, like, presses her, puts a gun to her chest, is like, bitch, you not gonna abandon us. Like, the fuck? But she weakens and she shoots warning shots in the air. And I'm guessing that's just to let, you know,
we bust
Elizabeth
guns.
Scientology know.
Yeah.
Right, like, don't get it twisted. So, yeah, that's kind of what happened. So, you know, they move Serena to a new prison, which is very, very cute. And Mark Tuello, as you know, he's like the liaison between the United States Canadian government and Gilead's government.
Mm-hmm. What a job.
And I know. So he tells Serena what happened, and that they sent her a finger, his left wedding finger. And all of a sudden, Serena was like, bitch, I know who did it.
Mm-hmm. Immediately.
Mm-hmm.
My sworn enemy that I created.
Yeah, that I created. The bitch is back.
Mm-hmm.
So she tells him it was June. And Mark Tuello was like, that's not possible. And she was like, you don't know what this bitch is capable of. And vice versa, because they're both telling Tuello, you don't know what this bitch can do. Right?
Which is really... Okay, so here's my question. See, this is why I have to go back and rewatch seasons, relive the trauma. Mark Tuello knew... That was... So Nick, it was Nick who negotiated and made it happen. But didn't Mark Tuello... He didn't have nothing to do with that.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
To get them to the...
That's why he said it's not possible. He couldn't make it seem like he knew anything. You're right. So...
Right. Because remember in episode 2... in his conversation with Spicy White Slaver, lends itself to what happened at the border.
Yeah, later on. You're right. But he I guess he just doesn't want any fingers pointing back to him. So he's like, yeah, nah, she couldn't have been her. Now, it's just so fascinating to me. It continues to be fascinating to me, even in real life, how Serena and those like her are able to make themselves into the victims when they are the ones who inflict the majority of the harm.
Oh, let me tell you, wait till we get to episode 2, because Serena Joy Waterford runs a clinic on white womanhood.
Does. Teaches a masterclass.
And how to move about and it's a pure reflection of how white women in America move in this country.
Because them carriages turned into terrorists.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And but yes, she does. Karen energy abound. Like,
yeah,
we should no longer use Karen. We should use Serena.
Joy. Serena Joy Waterford.
Yeah, that's what we should use.
Mm-hmm.
So, the lesbian from Veep that went out with Serena's daughter.
Her daughter, yeah.
Selena's daughter. Yeah. she's going out with Rory from Girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
And so Rory from Girlfriends went back to the Girlfriends, Gilmore Girls, excuse me.
Gilmore Girls, yeah.
Rory from Gilmore Girls went back to Gilead.
Baby, she went to go, she said a clitoris for a clitoris.
Yeah. And
a
so,
tooth for a tooth.
Right. And because Elizabeth Scientology went to go back and talk to and find Emily because, you know, Rory's her homegirl.
Yeah.
And her studsman was like, nah, she left us. And it was nice that she was here quickly, but it's also because of you that she's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you when she returns.
This is all your fault because she's never
returns.
going to return. Thanks a lot. You vigilante ass bitch, you ruined my family.
But here's the thing, though. Where I hear them, they will never understand what it's like.
Not
They
Luke.
will never understand what it's like.
Not lesbian from Veep. Not not any of them. Oh, was she? What was she also on? Was she on Wild Things?
I don't know.
Back in the day, I think so. But all of them, they'll never understand. Even
Moira, to a point,
I was gonna
doesn't
say,
understand the trauma.
Even just to an extent, she understands it. She was there in it.
Yeah.
But then she's a little bit more removed because she got her position was different, and she was a handmaid initially, and then she moved on to the whorehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I shouldn't say whorehouse, but you know what I mean. She moved on to the brothel they created, and then and then she was able to get out. So she experienced it, but then she's like a little bit more removed. So, which here's the thing too. I think this episode lent to a really good conversation about also being on the other side of living someone who's living with mental health issues and or trauma. Because a lot of us have people in our lives that suffer from various mental health disorders, bipolar disorder, and so forth and so on, which does cause erratic pendulum swinging behavior. And sometimes, you know, in our own humanity, I'm not saying it's not justified, you get frustrated in your own right dealing with the swinging pendulum of emotions of the loved one who is living with the mental health issues. And I think sometimes we need a reminder that they're dealing with something so great that they cannot control. And so, but that also doesn't mean that the frustration and so forth is not valid of the loved ones who are in the lives of these individuals as well.
No. Not at all.
There's just another level of empathy and understanding that you have to have, and sometimes, depending upon the actions, but go ahead.
Right. And that shows up here when Moira recognizes that she's not well and they have a conversation about Nichole, but that happens a little later.
Yes.
So she's eventually, you know, after Sylvia tells her, like, I'm not telling you about Emily, fuck you, she realized that a lot of people hate her, and like she keeps seeing like all these blood stains like around her. Like she had blood stains on the cup that she was drinking her orange juice. She's having blood stains on her window when she closed the door of her car. And it's like she's finally waking up from this like euphoric state, and that's when she starts trying to wash herself off with this blood, and she feels like she's trying to get herself clean. And the producers talk about this idea of her wanting to be clean but also really wanting to be dirty, like having this
joy, this satisfaction,
satisfaction of killing
satisfaction and desire. Like there's no remorse behind it, and I'm not saying there should be, but that's what they're trying to highlight, is that there is a pure satisfaction that is coming from this as well. Mama does not regret her actions whatsoever.
Right. Exactly. So she eventually goes down to the water, you know, where, you know, it's cleaning and renewing, and she has these positive, well, visions from the past, and she sees like her and Black Hannah, and, you know, all these loving images, and she's cleansing herself. It's like this rebirth type of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So then she goes to talk to not Barack Obama. And she declares this love of bloodlust, you know. She is like, I loved killing him. Like, I felt great. Like, it was great.
It's incredible.
Right. And so, you know, not Barack Obama's like, you know, I get it, I understand. And, you know, I hate him too. Fuck him. And she's kind of like,
you don't get it.
Yeah. She's like, I hate myself for loving this, and something is wrong, and I need to be punished for it. Mm-hmm. Which is part where it shows that she has some moral compass still. Where she's like, I killed somebody regardless of how much they abused me or whatever. I did it. And because I'm a law-abiding citizen, not like these other people that tortured me, I deserve to be punished. Mm-hmm. Now, I personally took that as her having this recurring thing of punishment in her life. Mm-hmm. And how if she rebels, there's a greater punishment. Mm-hmm. And so I think because that wasn't happening for her, she went to go do it for herself. Mm-hmm. So Elizabeth Scientology decided to turn herself in to the the Canadian police.
Yep. And she goes in. She has a very quick trial.
She talks to not Estapatha Murkerson, and they're like, why'd you kill him? And she was like, because he raped me and, you know, beat me and all these other horrible things.
And Black judge said, Ketanji Brown Jackson says, well, wasn't our problem. What didn't happen on our land. You're free to go. Thank you. Oh, you owe us $88 for a fine for whatever the fuck.
It was like a parking ticket.
Yeah, it was like, you parked by a hydrant while you were killing him, and so we have to charge you for that. And she was like, and so they were like, yeah, fully get it. Totally understand. You killed this nigga. Didn't happen on our soil, not our problem. And it was more so...
It didn't even happen in Gilead either.
Right. And it was very much like, girl, I am letting you go. Go. And
she thought because she didn't have $88 that they would lock her up. They said, girl, pay it online.
They said you can go to www.canadasparkingtickets.com and take care of that in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Okay? And if you don't take care of it in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to add a $15 late charge.
Yeah.
But, ta-ta.
Let's not, leave us alone.
Yeah.
Because you keep telling us information that we don't want to hear. And we know
you're about to make me say something I'm not supposed to say, which is, I'm glad you killed this nigga. He's a terrible person, but I can't say that legally. So please leave my chambers.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, you know, Serena Joy goes to visit the body of Fred Waterford.
No, she wants. Oh, does she go? I don't think. Does she go yet? I don't think she goes yet.
She goes.
Okay.
No, she goes.
Okay.
Because she goes to the morgue to identify him.
That's right, and she says, "I want to have. He deserves to have a regal royal burial."
Mm-hmm. And she's upset because Tuello's with her, and he tells her that June is free and ain't nothing gonna happen to her. And so she's pissed about it. You know, she's like, this isn't good. And she's scared because, and this whole idea of fear throughout this episode.
Which is exactly what caused white people to do the shit that they've done through history. Fear can be dangerous in the hands of a Caucasian.
Yeah, and Tuello talks about this later, but this plants the seed of this theme that we're going to see across is fear, because Serena's flipping the fuck out, because if she could so easily, and her bevy of bad bitches, maimed her husband, who's to say what is gonna happen to her and her unborn baby, And it doesn't, and she doesn't know yet, but the eyes didn't really care for Fred. So, she thinks that, there might be some protection on that side, but there's not. So when she leaves the morgue to go back to detention, I forgot that they had fans. Because remember at the end of last season where they had that MAGA rally? and Fred was like, yes, shout out to my kingdom in Canada. And it was like, girl, this is so weird. But whatever.
But also, is it because you got right-wingers all over the world?
Oh, yeah.
I remember my homeboy Antonio said, bitch, I got a motherfucking... Because he lived in a house for a while when he lived in a house for a while where all the rooms were rented rooms because it was people who would come in for projects and so forth and so on. He was working on some production work. And one of the other rooms got rented to this young Chinese kid from China. My man's came in the house with a "Make America Great Again" hat, and was very right wing in his politics, and was fully Chinese on a visa.
My opinion on that has...
Nope, keep going on this Handmaids, this white roots.
So, just remind me to talk about that on
Patreon. Yeah. Episode 2, we get to be honest.
Right. So, she's using Canadian guilt, Serena Joy is, to say that she wants to go back to Gilead to have a proper burial for her husband. And she was like, any decent country would allow me to do that. And so, of course, Canada's weak. Yeah. And so...
They're like, oh, we are like, decent.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Right. Like, oh, God, we have to be nice. Fucking Maple. So, they agree.
Ketchup chips.
Right. Which, delicious. So, back in, Toronto, Poussey... they're all at the house. Yeah. And they having a wind down, and Poussey tells June, hey girl,
you scaring me, girl.
Bitch, you scary. And
damn, June, you scary.
Yeah. And I don't feel you should be around Nichole like that.
Yeah, I'm like Nichole's like, mother, and I don't like you around my baby.
Yeah. And Elizabeth Scientology agreed, I don't feel safe around.
She's like, yeah, bitch, I am scary.
Yeah, like, know me. Yeah. Know the dog. Like, they agreed that, it me.
It me.
So... So they agree that she ain't mentally well right now, right? Yeah. But all of a sudden they get a knock at the door, and Mark Tuello decides to come over for a visit. And, this is where we talk about fear. So she apologizes scamming Tuello into all of this because he knew up to a point what was going to happen. He didn't know that
they was going to rip him apart like hyenas.
Right. But they knew that it wasn't going to be,
nothing nice.
Sunshine and rainbows, So he warns her that, well, first of all, she asked Tuello, like, does Serena know I did it? Good, because I want her to know it was me. Yeah. Which was her words. And he was like, you scared her. and she's kind of has like this relief on her face, but he was like, that's not a good thing. He was like, people who are scared do things that are necessarily the most kosher, right?
Yeah.
But he turns around as he's leaving. He's like,
Good
well
motherfucking
done.
job, bitch. You killed
Yeah.
that motherfucker. That motherfucker deserved every bit of what you gave. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the white version of the nigga please from OJ trial. Yeah. That's how Courtney B. Vance won his Emmy. He won for saying nigga please.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Black History 365.
All right.
Yeah. And then they allow them to bathe Nichole.
Yeah, she comes in. She kind of just like takes over. But everybody's like, you know what? We're going to let you have this because you deserve. And it ends on that note. There was a point I was about to make too about oh yes, okay. Is Tuello in love with Serena? Because I go back and forth between, I feel like he goes back and forth between this disgust for the life she lived, but like still this like, I don't know, this bit of something. I can't quite call it.
I don't think he's in love with her. I think he represents this idea of goodness, and that they don't have that often in this show.
It's like he has a soft spot for her, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he also kind of had a soft spot for Fred, too, but also he was kind of glad that, he was also glad that he died. Right. I think that if he were to have feelings for anybody, it would be June. Because she's played him several times, and he's still right there with her.
But I also think even though he represents this idea of good, he also feels an extreme sense of justice, in the sense where he's like, I have to represent this good, but underneath all of that, like, these motherfuckers are sick, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and at first I didn't know what to do with him. And I still kind of don't. After episode 2, I kind of see where it's going and I'm on his side. But I also don't know, because they also flip back and forth with their plans and try to play who or whatever. So I never know.
Because they're trying to make us teeter on this line of liking spicy white slaver. To
make him out an informant. And he's already been an informant. Don't know how. Yeah, I just don't know. We'll get to that in the next episode. But the episode was really good, and episode 2 was a lot better. So, that's it for this episode. Again, check out episode 2 and more on Patreon. And we'll see y'all next time.
If for whatever god-awful reason you want more Jade and XD, make sure you subscribe to us on Patreon.